Hello and welcome to episode 6 now of my Giulia Veloce video diary series, and today it's a big one because the car has done 10,000 miles since I got it. 10,000 miles, they've flown by. So what I want to find out today is what's that 10,000 miles been like? Has it broken down? Anything I've noticed since I got it? And also I want to talk about practicality because I kind of glazed over it previously. But it is quite important, especially if you're buying this car and you've got a family. So we'll talk about that. But first up, 10,000 mile sit rep. So you're probably looking at me now and thinking, I bet he's had that bonnet up several times with this car. But actually, no. This is the first time I've lifted the bonnet on the Giulia Veloce. And I think that says a lot because despite Alfa Romeo's reputation, I've had no major issues with this car at all. Touch wood. The only things that have gone wrong are the tyre pressure monitor that kept coming on for no apparent reason, but that seems to have fixed itself, and also the sat nav not knowing where I was, but that's also been fixed by a nice quick simple software update. Even the cabin, there's still no squeaks or rattles or any annoying noises, and that might sound like what you'd expect from a £40,000 car, but actually it's not. I've had squeaks and rattles on far younger cars that cost £40,000, but the Alfa Romeo hasn't got any of those. So all in all, top marks Alfa Romeo, well done. On to fuel economy, and over the 10,000 miles, it's done just over 32 miles per gallon, which, if I'm being honest, I'm a little bit disappointed about. I think it could have been, or it should be, in the mid-30s. On a run, you get high 30s. Again, I think it should probably be low 40s. That's the amount that you get from a comparably fast BMW or Audi. So yeah, could do a little bit more, but in terms of what I'm putting into this car, the tyres and the brakes, they are still absolutely fine. They've got lots and lots of life left in them, so that's good. But yeah, fuel economy could be just a little bit stronger, I reckon. Final question, would I change anything about the spec on this car now I've run it for the last 6 months and I'm seeing what it's like? And the honest answer is, and I don't want to be boring, but no, I wouldn't actually. The Veloce is still the one to get if you can't stretch to the QV, which, as we've discussed before, is brilliant. But I love the paint on this, the Mazzano blue paint. I think it looks fantastic. You hardly see any other cars in Mazzano blue. In fact, I think I've only seen one in the entire time I've had this car, which is pretty impressive. The Veloce spec, I still think you don't really need the Estrema because the Estrema now comes with the adaptive dampers as standard. And as I said before, you don't need them. The passive dampers and the ride and the handling on this are fantastic. And also, you get the limited slip rear differential as standard now on Veloce. So as it is, it's pretty much perfect and I wouldn't change it.
So nothing nasty to report on the reliability front, but what about practicality? Well, I've just had a weekend where I've filled this car with 4 adult passengers and stuffed the boot to the brim, so I wanted to go through a few observations.
Starting with space in the rear seats, and even if you're over 6 foot, unlike me, then there's actually a surprising amount of room back here given the swooping and low rear roofline. You've got enough headroom, got enough knee room as well, that's all good, and generally it's not a bad place to spend time in. The downsides are that it is quite dark in here with the black headlining and the black leather. There's no USB ports or vents in the centre column here like there is on a lot of cars in this class. And also, this is something which is a little bit annoying but isn't the end of the world. If you get in before the driver has turned the engine on or turned the ignition on, then the seat will be further back because it's got the easy access system. So you really need to let the driver get in first, otherwise you'll find it a bit tight getting in. A couple of other features though that are nice. You've got this centre armrest with the cup holders here, very nice. A little cubby hole there in lieu of the aircon and the USBs. And there's also a place for your water bottle and a very handy net on the back of the front seat. So there could be a few more features, but as for overall space, it's not too bad at all. As for boot space, you don't get an electronic tailgate, but then you really don't need one at all because you just press the button and lift it up like so. And once you're in, it's got 480 litres of boot space, with the rear seats in place. And that's about the same as the BMW 3 Series and the Audi A4 saloon, and it's more than the Mercedes-Benz C-Class. So you might think it could be smaller because of how sleek and sporty the car is, but actually it's a very good sized boot. All you've got to bear in mind is the low height between the floor and the window line, but you get that on all saloons. There's a nice cubby hole on the left-hand side there, so you can put the first aid kit in, or the vests for the motorways in France, anything like that. And then also just bear in mind the release for the rear seats. They're in the boot just under the window, they're not in the cabin. But overall, really good sized boot, more than on par with its rivals.
That's it for episode number 6, and happy 10,000 miles to the Giulia. Let me know in the comments what you want me to cover next time, and don't forget to hit subscribe and turn your notifications on so you don't miss any future episodes. Finally, make sure you head over to the parkers.co.uk website, where I've got my full written report on the Giulia, as well as the incredibly detailed in-depth review from the Parkers team.